Yeah.
He seemed chilled a couple times that I've interacted with him.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him.
Alrighty. Well, speaking of interacting, we are back. Welcome to another Wisco Fanatics Tuesday evening. We are recapping the Packers' loss to the Ravens. Honestly, probably not going to be a ton to say just because it ended up being like a backups game. And then we're going to pretty much just skip doing a preview this week. The preview notes are going to be to get healthy. We don't know if anybody prominent is going to play. Not that it really matters because there's nothing to battle for seeding wise for the Packers. And there's not a whole lot to win there. So the notes this week are just going to be to get healthy. And then we're going to look at some milestones that could be achieved this weekend, as well as looking at some of the stat projections that we did for this season and seeing, if there's any that we're close on, which is, again, another thing to kind of hard to do because there were so many injuries to the Packers this season. But we're going to hit the intro and get started on the recap.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so let's just jump right in. Start with Packers, Ravens. Just start with the pass rush.
Yeah, not really much to talk about. The Ravens didn't have to face much pass rush because they ran the ball 9 more times than we had total plays. So in terms of pass rush, wasn't really an opportunity. They got 1 sack from Walker in the red zone, no yards lost. Really, the pass rush leaves a lot to be desired since number 1 isn't on the field anymore. And number 52 seems to have left his heart in another stadium because he plays with none right now. I will say that I thought LVN looked pretty good and Enagbare looked pretty decent. So other than that, really nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, honestly, not a whole lot different than what I have as far as the defensive line is concerned. Just the first couple drives and the game as a whole, they're just getting run over, honestly. The first scramble that I saw from Huntley, I did see Gary hustle after him, but that's one play, and that was about all I saw. I will say with the Packers, they miss Micah Parsons, like Jake said. They missed Devontae Wyatt, and they lost Jordan Riley in this game too. So it's really, really tough with how decimated the defensive line is. And in the preview, the abbreviated preview, I'll throw out what they've done to address it. But like Jake said, Kingsley Enagbare has come a long way in the last 2.5 years defending the edge. Lucas Van Ness was the Packers' highest graded defender. He had 3 pressures and a team high 5 run stops, including versus the quarterback. He made some really, really good plays against the run. So a silver lining potentially was Lucas Van Ness had a really, really good game. So that is definitely something to build on for the future. Scoliosis is asking us about Malik Willis. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's part of our recap. So, but yeah, that's about all I had on the defensive line. So, Simon, what'd you take away from the run defense? Sorry.
Dog shit. Next question.
Okay.
Actually, I do have some stuff.
I'm serious, yeah.
But that really sums it up.
It does, dude.
Ravens ran the ball 53 times for 307 yards.
Yeah.
That's 5.8 yards per carry. The defensive line looked pretty non-existent. Defensive line looked pretty non-existent. Linebackers couldn't contain the outside run. The Ravens had 192 yards after contact and forced 10 missed tackles.
Bro, they had a higher yards per carry average than they had a per play average, like in total with passing included.
Yeah.
Their runs average was higher.
They passed for like 5.7 yards.
5.1 yards per pass.
Excuse me. Yeah. This is exactly what didn't need to happen for us to win this game. And that's exactly what happened. It's just Derrick Henry. And love Derrick Henry, hell of a player. But that was
getting him angry sucked.
That was the worst run defense I've seen since the 49ers playoff game where Raheem Mostert went for 200 and some yards. And it was like all before contact or something. It was like 10 yards per attempt before contact or something insane like that.
Yeah.
Where we just could. What was the one I saw? Edgerrin Cooper's average depth of tackle was 12 yards down the field. Yeah,
Blake
That's
Martinez game.
yeah, that's all. That's immediately where my mind. It was really bad.
Brad said, "When's the Gary talk gonna start?" It's gonna start the day after the Packers are eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah,
As far as our show, we basically
Or the
said
day
we
after
plan they
they win the
without
Super Bowl.
effort, and that's kind of where
Whichever
we're leaving it
happens.
for now.
or the day after when they win the Super Bowl. That'd be sick
Or the
too.
day after they win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
And you can call us so crazy, but the Rams just lost to Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. Like the NFC is open.
The NFC is absolutely open.
I'm still like very.
The Niners look nasty though.
Yeah, the
Their
Niners
offense
are
is
like
so disgusting.
absolutely on fire, and then
Seattle's offense is
I'm
kind of
hesitant
nuts, too.
because I feel like we just have too many injuries to overcome. We cannot get pressure on the quarterback. There's no more rushing with 4. We have to bring pressure every time, and because our cornerbacks, when you look at it, aren't good enough to stay on any of these wide receivers without pressure. So it's kind of really all run. It's really unfortunate. I thought this team was really, we're going to be really well. They are a really good team, but it's just too many injuries to overcome, in my opinion. But that being said, it's still wide open. We just seen an Atlanta Falcons team beat the Rams, so you never know.
Brian, how do you feel about the linebackers?
I mean, the fact that the running game did what they did, and what Simon just shared, I see PFF had them down for 11 missed tackles actually, so one more than 10. But then when they're just not hitting the gaps, missing all these tackles, it was not good enough. I'm still getting frustrated watching Isaiah McDuffie try to cover in coverage. To be honest, one of the things I'm excited about this game is I want to see Tyron Hopper on the field a lot. I don't want to jump ahead, but look, Isaiah McDuffie had a couple nice games. He's kind of like Keyshawn Nixon he'll make a couple nice plays. They're like, oh, he needs to be on the field all the time, and then ignore all the times that they're absolutely getting destroyed. So it's just, if Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper couldn't tackle, I would say we have a need for McDuffie on the field all the time, but that's not the case. So I'm hoping, it's just frustrating to watch the linebackers because it's not good enough, especially with what we thought we had coming in this year, and I think we can have going forward with Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper still. They just did not play good enough. I almost felt like they got their spot clinched by the Vikings, and then they found out Jordan Love wasn't going to play, and then they pretty much just tucked their tails and said, okay, whatever. Like, I felt like they played with zero heart. There's a couple. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple players playing with heart. Malik Willis, obviously, because he's playing for a paycheck. Christian Watson looked, awesome. A couple other players looked decent, but other than that, it was just awful.
Yeah. Hey, Scoliosis said Eric Wilson's looked great in purple this year. Yeah,
I like Eric
guy we
Wilson.
would have been okay with holding on to.
Yeah,
I
we
like
want
Eric
him to
Wilson
leave.
a lot.
Yeah, and we can't really fault him for like wanting to have a bigger role on a team. Like he earned it.
Yeah.
Like every time he was on the field, he was making plays.
Yeah.
So that's good for him.
And that's where our blind loyalty to players like Nixon and McDuffie just frustrates me.
Well, McDuffie
We'll see.
was
Maybe Eric Wilson will follow Brian Flores to wherever he goes to be the head coach of.
maybe.
All right. Third and fourth down defense.
I don't want to talk about any of this. Dude, I literally
Brian Flores is leaving.
Yeah,
Tyler,
Brian
what
Flores
time did I
is getting
text
head
you,
coaching
dude?
job.
Like 8 o'clock this morning, dude, that I was not excited to talk about the Packers today.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, anyways, let's get it over with. They went 10 for 14 on third down, which is fucking disgusting. They got a couple touchdowns on third downs. Just really, it was bad. The whole game was bad. This game pissed me off. They came out, they punched us in the mouth. Packers responded. They punched us in the mouth again. They just kept punching us. When we were on the ground, they did that thing where, like, you end the game and they keep your foot on people's necks. You know, the thing that we don't do because LaFleur is too much of a nice guy. Yeah, so they beat the shit out of us in every goddamn area. 10 for 14 on third down.
You remember that clip of Rasheed Walker and humping the guy? We were the one on the ground, and the Ravens were Rasheed Walker. That's what just happened to us.
Yep, I agree. I seriously, I'm so mad about this game.
Hey, sorry, Vikings fans. Brian Flores is getting a head coaching job.
He's ahead of Halfley, in my opinion.
I strongly agree.
Yeah.
Halfley maybe 2027, but Flores is getting a head coaching job in 2026.
I can see that.
All righty. Secondary.
I mean, they didn't throw the ball a ton, so it was only so much. Valentine allowed the only touchdown pass. They forced a couple incompletions. I kind of wish they just made more plays on third down. There was a couple third downs where I thought we had them in a good spot, and they just let up an easy pass and first down.
Yeah, that was rough.
But they didn't allow anything deep. They kept a lot of stuff in front of them, but just the third downs irked me a little bit.
He's wholly better than Halfley. Snuck a dad joke in there, huh? All right. Let's go to red zone defense.
All right.
Red zone defense. Yeah, you want to talk about this too? They had 5 attempts in the red zone in the first half. That's disgusting. Now, obviously, 2 of them came off of offensive miscues, a fumble, and a fourth down non-conversion. But the first attempt, they Hundley for 5 from the 19, and then 3 straight runs to Henry, 3-8-3 touchdown. Second attempt was Henry 3-9-5 no gain 1 yard touchdown. So they literally just handed the ball to Henry 8 straight times in the red zone. They got 2 touchdowns. If they're not going to stop it,
that's what he's there for.
Third attempt, Huntley hit Bateman for 7. Third and 2, Huntley. Henry for 6, first and goal, Henry for 2. Second down was when we got that sack from Walker for no gain, and then third down incomplete. That was off the fourth down, so we held him to a field goal. Nice job. Second one was Henry for no gain, Huntley for 1 yard, incomplete pass, and then they held him to a field goal. Fifth one, Huntley hit Andrews for 8. Mitchell ran the ball for 3, and then Henry comes in and he runs in another touchdown, getting his 3rd touchdown of the first half, absolutely destroying us. They ended up 4 for 6 in the red zone, and like I said, five of those 6 attempts were in the first half. They beat the brakes off us in the first half.
Brian, how did you feel about special teams?
I mean, they're fine. Nothing really bad happened. We just got our ass kicked up and down the field when the Ravens were up on the field. So, I mean, special teams did its job well enough, unless I'm missing something that I can't think of. But, yeah,
they were fine.
Fine. What we need them to be. If they can perform how they just performed every, or however many games we may have left, that would be the best. But
yeah. Oh, the Bears. Look at that. We got a Vikings fan and a Bears fan that comment on Packers Ravens week. All right.
Yeah.
Why didn't the Bears fans show up early in the season? You only show up now when you're winning? Front runner?
All right. Let's jump into offense and go to tight ends.
Honestly, pretty quiet game from the tight end room. Wiley had 1 catch for 8 yards, and then they did, I thought, a decent job in pass blocking when they were asked to, and not much in the run game snaps. That was pretty much it. It was a really quiet game from the tight ends.
All right, what about wide receivers?
Yeah, I thought Christian Watson, obviously, finally, that's the first game all year we had a wide receiver go over 100 yards. So kudos to him. Romeo Dobbs, made a couple plays. Still a little sour taste in my mouth from a couple weekends ago with him. And then other than that, I thought Reed was fine. I just want to see Matthew Golden get involved more. He had the one decent catch, and then they didn't really look at him. I don't know why Bo Melton is out there running so many more routes or on the field, just as much, if not more. I got to look at the snap count than Matthew Golden. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't. Yeah, it is what it is. But let's see. Let me look real quick. Yeah. Well, I guess Bo Melton. I mean, Matthew Golden was on the field more than him, but he didn't get the targets really. So you're chucking the ball way down the field to Bo Melton, who I know made that nice deep catch, but I just feel like, if that's Matthew Golden, that might be a touchdown. You know what I mean? So I'd just like to see Matthew Golden on the field more. But other than that, it was fine. Nothing terrible from the wide receivers. We did have 3 drops credited against us, which isn't great, but overall, I thought it was okay.
Scoliosis said, usually if you don't hear anything about special teams, it means they did their job similar to the offensive line. That's definitely true.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I agree, but I disagree. With the O-line, when they're running the ball like that, usually during the game, they talk about how good the O-line is blocking. So, I mean, they do talk about the O-line. It's not like they don't. Special teams, though, is more like cornerback.
Well, I mean, like announcers, if they're giving credit to guys for blocking, but like if you hear a referee say an offensive lineman's name, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, Bull Melton got more targets than Matthew Golden, and I don't think that should ever be the case. Sorry.
I agree.
Just to jump into the passing game distribution on that subject, I will say this, and this is a devil's advocate situation with Malik Willis being the backup, is primarily like working in practice and stuff is going to be with the backups.
So what is Matthew Golden?
Well, he's
no.
Fringe.
Freaking Bo Melton started the year as a fucking corner. He's getting more goddamn attempts than our first round wide receiver.
Okay.
It's stupid.
But we have this not have this conversation like the last 3 weeks in a row that I don't think that Matthew Golden is 100%. I've been saying that for like 3 weeks.
No, in the situation that we're in, losing 3 in a row, dude, barely scraping by, and Wicks isn't even finishing games. Bro,
Wicks
he's
isn't
a first round wide
yet.
receiver.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm tired of the excuses.
Yep.
I'm just throwing out perspective.
I know. I'm not mad at you. LaFleur pisses me off, dude.
No, I'm mad at Tyler. It's directly his fault that Matthew Golden is not getting more snaps.
Hey, what was it? Was it?
They watched our show and they heard you say you weren't that big of a fan of him, and they're like, "Oh, Tyler doesn't like him, so we can't play him as much."
But after I think it was before the Broncos game that I said he's earned more opportunity.
Yeah, he's just not getting it,
and he hasn't.
You can see he's getting frustrated. You can watch him. There's a couple times he's wide open. There was one he was wide open. The ball doesn't get thrown to him. Another, you can see he's getting frustrated. And I can't blame him, to be honest. I don't want to be wide receiver, but I cannot blame him.
Okay. I wasn't going to tell you guys this. Spoiler alert. I have a Matthew Golden thing when we get to later stuff.
Okay.
I have some numbers for you guys. Scoliosis said, let the rage flow. I agree with you. Why wouldn't you play Golden more? I think it's his health.
If he's healthy enough to put the helmet on, he's fine.
I think it's a combination of a few things. I don't think it's like, oh, he's not healthy, or I think there's a few guys ahead of him, and next year I think he'll get way more opportunities. There's been times where he's definitely miscued as well, and I think that's also part of it. Not all of it,
but I care about this year.
Okay, but if you're taking a wide receiver, you have to be okay with some growing pains.
I agree.
How many people are ahead of him? Is Dontavian Wicks one of them? That guy hasn't finished the game in like freaking 3 months.
Three guys I would put.
Was it Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that was the last game he actually finished the whole game.
I think it's 3, honestly.
I think it's 3.
But they treat him as if he's our number 6 wide receiver.
Seriously, dude, you bring up Bo Melton, who, again, started the year as a cornerback, and now he's getting deep shots more than our first-round wide receiver. That's what frustrates me. That doesn't make sense. You drafted this guy because he's fast, and he's a deep threat. And you don't even use him as a deep threat. You use a corner as a deep threat. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. It makes no sense.
All right. On the passing game distribution, they took 6 deep shots. They went deep 20-plus 6 times. Credited for 6 completions on 6 attempts, but there was a deep incompletion to Matthew Golden. So I don't know where that was not in the statistics, but Brad asked if we can win the Super Bowl with Matt LaFleur. I don't see why not, but it all depends on if the coaching and the execution are happening at the same time. Because there's definitely times where Matt LaFleur looks like a Super Bowl caliber head coach, and then there's other times where it's like, why are we playing with training wheels?
That's fair.
So there's a duality to it. So I think it's possible, but Malik Willis was 2 for 2 on 10 to 19, 6 for 8 on 0 to 9, and 4 for 4 behind the line of scrimmage. My big note from this is please let Jordan Love throw 6 deep balls in the wild card game when we get that far. I think next week their plan is going to be to have a pretty small recap and then a bigger preview for the playoff game. So that's going to be the plan next week. But as far as the distribution goes, 10 players were targeted. All 10 had at least 1 catch. Christian Watson had 6 targets. Jaden Reed had 4, Romeo Dobbs and Bo Melton had 3 each. And that's where we stand with the passing game distribution. So moving into offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the PFF grades, Belton finished with like a 15, or Banks was like a 23, and another one was like a 30 something like 7 pressures allowed from our interior offensive line. We couldn't get anything going in the running game aside from Malik Willis, so not good enough for sure. I think Zach Tom's going to help shore a lot of this up once he gets back. Actually, Jordan Morgan did like it basically off PFF grades, which I know we've talked about is not, we don't take it for gospel, but it's a decent measuring stick. Jordan Morgan had a good game, but it's just been really inconsistent. But either way, it wasn't the offensive line that lost us this game.
Yeah. Alrighty. Run game.
You mean Malik Willis? I don't know. Oh man, because we were hearing it from one of our friends. He was like, he had Josh Jacobs in fantasy. He's like, he's done.
I beat him.
He's like, he's done. I was like, dude, it's not even his fault.
I love the game plan for him.
even when he got the ball, like he was just hitting the backfield, and there was like nothing he could do.
$850.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. Wilson had 3 carries for 16 yards, but Malik Willis, his option game is just so good. He pulled that ball so late on his first touchdown.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even know he had the ball for like a second because I thought he just handed it off, but he ended up going 9 carries for 60 yards. He forced 2 missed tackles. He had 2 touchdowns, and he had some nasty runs where I don't know how he made it happen, but he did.
Yeah.
Malik Willis for MVP. Jeez, he had a disgusting. He was so good this game. It's too bad the offense kind of got marred by those couple miscues because he had an absolutely insanely good game.
Well, it sucks too. We had a chance to make it a 1-score game, and then he hurts his shoulder on that throw, and then Clayton Tune comes in. It's not Clayton Tune's fault. I think the ball
was
right off Bo Melton's hand.
Yeah.
Good thing he was there, not Golden, right off Bo Melton's hand into the freaking defender.
Yeah, good thing we put a corner on the field.
That's why they moved him to corner because he can't catch.
Well, let's just throw another deep shot to him.
Why not?
He can catch those better, apparently.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
All right. Going to 3rd and 4th down offense.
Yeah, we had 6 attempts from 3rd down. We converted 3 of them. Honestly, Malik was a monster. The one 3rd down just keeps popping up in my head where he freaking spins off 2 people and then keeps running in the red zone. I was like, holy shit, this guy might actually be a baller, dude. Yeah. He's gonna get a pretty decent contract from somebody. It's gonna be tough to
I'll be a little surprised if he doesn't end up with a Justin Fields-esque contract.
I can see that.
So I actually wrote this in my notes just because I have this written down. I don't think he's going to get Baker Darnold money, the 3 for $100, but I also think he's going to get more than Daniel Jones, his 1 for $14.
Yeah.
So
Fields got like 2 for $40.
I think he got 2 for $40. So I was thinking like 3 for $60 for Malik Willis.
Yeah. And I don't know if they'll do that much, but I think 2 for $40 would be a good contract for him, and we'll probably get a comp pick out of it.
Yeah.
No, we don't have the cap space to take and trade him, unfortunately. I just don't know how they would make that work. But
Scoliosis, the fact that he played so well kind of sucks. I don't think Minnesota would have a chance to bring him in to compete with McCarthy because he probably earned himself a starting shot somewhere if the Jets will give Fields $40 million. Imagine. Brett said drafting for Flash with Golden wasn't the Packer way, and it hurt our offensive and defensive lines. I was in favor of a wide receiver, but looking back, it set us back. I mean,
I disagree.
I don't hate the wide receiver pick just because we needed to replenish, because I think there's 2 guys walking from that room next year. Yeah. And that's why, like Simon's talking about, Matthew Golden could be a huge piece next year, and I strongly agree. Yeah. There were wide receivers that I liked more available at that pick. And yes, I fell prisoner to, some film guys that I fell in love with watching film that, weren't going to be super prominent wide receivers. And that's something for me to work on in January. But there were guys available when they picked Golden that I liked more than him, and that's just unfortunate. That's how it goes, that he's not getting a ton of opportunity because there are so many guys in that room this year.
Yeah, and I like it. Emeka Egbuka is my favorite, and I was a little surprised Tampa Bay took him. I thought he was going to fall to us, and then Tampa Bay swaps in and swoops in and takes him, and he's been great too. But I'm not giving up on Matthew Golden. I think he'll be fine. It's just he's not getting the chances for whatever reason, and I think it comes back to the Packers. Matt LaFleur, to a fault, is overly loyal, in my opinion, to certain people that are hurting the team. Rich Bisaccia, Barry for an extra year, Isaiah McDuffie because he had him in college, shit like that. Like it's frustrating.
Yep. All right. Red zone offense, not much to write home about. They were 1 for 2 this week, and really where we're at is the Packers are now down to 17th in the NFL in red zone touchdown percentage, 18% in their last 3 weeks. 4 weeks ago, they were number.
We're number like 1 or 2. You said 4 weeks ago, right?
What's that?
What were we 4 weeks ago?
Number 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just as far as coaching goes, as far as running, the deep play on the first play with 6 offensive linemen, I thought that was a brilliant play call to start the game off, followed by 2 penalties and then another deep shot for a touchdown. As far as the game goes, can't really start much better than that. Bryant was calling for timeouts when the Ravens were going down the field before halftime. I can agree to that. Once we were in a spot that we weren't going to be able to get points ourselves. So once it gets kind of like under a minute and it's like, okay, the Ravens still have all their timeouts and, we're probably not getting the ball back. I can agree with you that that would be a good time to take some timeouts to give your defense a breather. Looking at time of possession, 40 minutes. God damn. Packers offense, give your defense a fucking rest. Stay on the field for a little while. And I get the first drive, they scored a deep touchdown. That's great. But, damn, some of the drives that they didn't sustain. And then just the Ravens just being able to run and run and run and run and run and take 30 seconds off every single play. 40 minutes of time of possession is absurd.
Yeah.
So, no Jordan Love this game. We had Malik Willis. I'm not putting Clayton Tune's name on here. If you guys want to say anything about Clayton Tune, you can. His first pass goes through a player's hands right for an interception. Just okay, cool. That's how you help out your third string guys. Drop a ball that hits you in the hands and let it go for an interception. So, Simon, what did you think about Malik Willis? I know you kind of said already a little bit of stuff, but what do you think about Malik Willis?
You're muted.
Okay. Bryant, what did you think of Malik Willis?
Yeah, I thought he looked really good, and I thought he definitely earned himself some money this offseason. For the people that are saying, start Malik Willis over Jordan Love, just miss me with that. If you look at all the EPAs, everything, Jordan Love is still towards the top of the league. He's struggled with some injuries this year. Yeah, he's in inconsistency for sure. But I think that's a lot to do with the way this team is being coached to a certain degree and the way other people are being played to, not just on Jordan. But if you look at his QBR, he's still number 2 in the league. If you look at EPA added, he's right below May. He's played very well. So no, Malik Willis should not be the starter full time over Jordan Love. Nowhere. No GM in the NFL would take Malik Willis over Jordan Love. But that being said, I think if you build an offense around Malik Willis, like LaFleur has been able to do, then yeah, he can be a serviceable, good quarterback and make some amazing plays. And, I think he's probably learned a lot sitting behind Jordan Love and in Matt LaFleur's offense the last 2 years. So, I hope he turns around and makes a lot of money. And you know what, if he goes somewhere and it doesn't turn out because it's not the same type of, they're trying to put him into the office that they want instead of what he needs, then I think we would welcome back with open arms as a backup for Jordan. And, but yeah, I thought he played awesome. He made some really nice throws. Jake talked about a couple of the plays he made running the ball and the touchdowns. So it was almost, he looked a little bit like Michael Vick. And if I'm being 100% honest, someone I can just absolutely like that throw to Christian Watson for that touchdown. That's an absolute seed right up the seam. So, I'm happy for him. He's going to have a tough game. Hopefully it doesn't damage his his draft cap, or I mean his offseason capital too much, because Minnesota is not going to be an easy team to play against for him defensively, especially if we have a bunch of backups in there with him. But I thought he played great, and I'm excited to see Love back, and I think Love gives us the best chance to succeed going forward. Everyone's saying that Love never uses his legs, just ignores the fact that he ran for a huge first down against Chicago before he got injured. Yeah, well,
Love does play a little bit more like Aaron Rodgers in that aspect of running when he has to, not running because he can.
Yeah,
100%.
I've seen people complain, he throws off the back foot. Oh, you mean like the touchdowns he was throwing against Chicago in the first matchup off the back foot, like making beautiful throws, avoiding pressure, taking very, pretty minimal sacks with let's be honest, our offensive line is maybe top 15 in the league. Maybe I would put them somewhere between 15 and 20, probably. A lot of the, their numbers being low on sacks, it has a lot to do with Jordan Love. So,
yeah. And the thing with this, and I'm just going to jump in because we're having this conversation. Willis, he was great as a runner. He was really good as a thrower. He's someone absolutely is going to take a chance on him, and he's earned that. And the biggest difference for me, and this is credit to Matt LaFleur, is you have two different guys with two different play styles, and they're both succeeding in your offense. That, to me, that is credit due to Matt LaFleur. To be able to tailor your offense to two different play styles is impressive. Scoliosis brought a great point. When he starts somewhere next year, I promise Love will be out playing him, saying it's different when teams are scouting your tape week in and week out. That's absolutely fair when teams are preparing to face you and not preparing to face a backup. Looking at two things. When Jordan Love is in, there are two plays in this game that I think would have been different had Jordan Love been in the game. And both of these games would have changed the game, in my opinion. One being the fumble that goes off Malik Willis's face mask. I think that is, while that is on Sean Ryan, Jordan Love has this offense more organized than for stuff like that to happen.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then the 3rd and 4th down where the Packers got stopped, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 back-to-back plays. The 3rd and 1, they might still try to run that similar play just to get the hurry up, just to catch, try to catch the Ravens off guard. But that 4th and 1, you look at both of those plays. If Jordan Love is in the game, he's taking his time. He's diagnosing pre-snap, and I'd bet you $100 that Jordan Love is changing one of those plays to a throw.
Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't run a bootleg or something with Willis in one of those with a tight end leaking out. Like, that's where I think Matt LaFleur gets a little stale in some of his play calling from time to time.
And I think Jordan Love is looking pre-snap, and I think one of those two plays is going to end up being a throw.
Yeah.
Just on the wide receiver thing, I did pull up some wide receiver numbers, and honestly, Matthew Golden, he's 7th in the league in yards for rookies.
Yeah.
Obviously, Emeka Egbuka and Tedero McMillan are up above him and were picked before him, but the guy that I had as my number one wide receiver was Luther Burden, and unfortunately, he got drafted by Chicago, and more unfortunately, he had a monster game against San Francisco on Sunday night, and we might be playing him next week. So, Jaden Higgins, picked by Houston. He was picked in the 2nd round. Former Badger Chimere Dike has 35 more yards than Matthew Golden. Granted, he's played more games, but, there were a couple guys available, I think, that would have been better fits, in my opinion. But Golden's here now, so that's who we're cheering for. Simon, what did you think of Malik Willis?
Yeah, just it was a really shout out Gutekunst for swapping a 7th for him. I mean, that was a huge pickup.
He'd probably get a 3rd round pick for that. He basically traded a 7th round for a 3rd round
and a couple years of backup. No, I think
at the very worst.
Well, who else are we talking about in the offseason getting a big contract? And
yeah,
that maybe a 4th, depending on
Daniel Jones is probably going to get a big contract too. But that's
who?
Daniel Jones. He's probably going to get a contract because he's on a 1-year deal.
But I think his contract's going to be small because he's coming off a injury.
Yeah,
like smaller at least. And someone might give him a chance, but I think he's going to go back to Indy. And they're going to give him a contract. Well, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on what the GM thinks too. But I think Malik's going to get a huge contract. I think it's well deserved. I think he's shown the league that whatever Tennessee had going down in their dumpster fire of a franchise is not the player that he is. And shout out Matt LaFleur too for developing him, or Sean Mannion. Those guys did an incredible job preparing him to play every single week that he's been called upon. And this week he was an absolute baller this week. I wish the offense didn't have those miscues. I think it would have been like toe to toe with the Ravens at least. I mean, defense is what it is, but I think our offense could have went toe to toe like score for score with them the whole game, and I think we just ended up getting too far behind, and he got injured obviously. But Malik played a hell of a game, and I'm really happy for him. He's a super humble guy. I know everyone's seen that video of him surface where he was outside the combine giving his shoes and stuff to a homeless man. I think that just kind of speaks to the volume of character that he has. I hope wherever he goes, he just absolutely succeeds. I'll be rooting for him.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Jake, what did you Scoliosis asked if Jones will be ready to start the season. I mean,
maybe.
But even for quarterback,
like week 8?
Yeah, torn Achilles. Torn Achilles.
Oh, maybe it was later than that, I guess.
It almost takes a
I
year.
They were like 8-1 when it happened, or did they start 8-1?
It was like week 8 or week 9. But
yeah,
like look at other quarterbacks. Yes, I get Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are both older, but they didn't really get back to kind of who they were a little bit till at least another full year after the fact. So I mean, Kirk Cousins is playing fine for Atlanta, and Aaron Rodgers, I would say, is playing fine for Pittsburgh too. But
Rodgers was good last year too.
Yeah, it's with Achilles, like it's a tricky one for sure. And when you think about it, Daniel Jones does a lot of running. He does, as a quarterback, and he's not going to be able to do that right away starting next year. So we'll see what kind of contract he gets.
Jake, what did you take away from Malik Willis?
Oh, you mean the future Raiders quarterback?
What do you mean? He's going to be a Cardinal.
Raiders. I think that he did a really nice job playing on time. Did a really nice job using his legs because he could. I loved how you phrased that before. And he has a stronger arm than I remember, honestly. Those throws that they – and people don't take this into account when they're talking about Jordan Love too, but those throws when you're on the opposite hash mark and you're throwing those out routes all the way to the out of bounds, like that's a far throw, dude. That's like a 20-some yard throw, and you have a split second to throw that and get it in there, fit it in that small window. So he did a really nice job. He was really good. He earned himself a lot of money on Saturday night. If nothing else came out of this, LVN played good, and Malik earned himself a bag.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say before we get into the preview stuff, and Brian brought up that Christian Watson played really well. Brian Gutekunst is going to look like a fucking savant next year for Christian Watson making $13.5 million.
Dude.
They might need to look at extending him before, decide.
I would strongly consider it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would too.
Yep.
Romeo Dobbs is pretty much, in my opinion, is gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
I think Dontavian Wicks could be a trade piece. I mean, so.
Yep. And then you roll next year with Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Matthew Golden. I'm down for that. The other thing that I'll say, kind of just let's use this as a transition piece, and we'll just go into the offense. As far as wide receivers go, and this is a little more future than just week 18, I said this to you guys. I've said it in some other group chats. I would like to see the Packers bring in, it doesn't have to be a big name. I would like a veteran that can stay healthy so that we don't have to force Bull Melton into so many situations. Like I said, I don't care if it's a big name, but a guy who is known for being like an Iron Man, stay healthy kind of guy. Like the Patriots bringing in like Mac Hollins, like a guy like that. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be a big name, just a sturdy veteran to be our wide receiver 5 next year. That's what I want for the Packers offense. Other than that, as far as week 18 goes, my thoughts for offense and defense are going to be to get healthy. Brian, I'll give you a chance. Is there anything you're looking for from offense this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see. We might see a little bit of more, some of these more depth line offensive linemen. I want to see, if they can play a little bit better. See if we have anything, in those bottom 3 players. it's Glover that didn't get hurt, right? Glover's still healthy. I wouldn't mind seeing him play some snaps. And then I want to see Matthew Golden hopefully get a lot more targets. For the offense, if Jordan Love plays, then I want to see Christian Watson and stuff on the field, however long Jordan Love is. If maybe 2 drives, if they can go 2 drives and get a touchdown out of one of those, I say you pull Jordan and you get Christian Watson, get Jacobs, get everyone off the field. There's no we kind of cashed it in this last weekend for a chance at a second round or overall second seed, unfortunately. So or third seed, but I would say use it mostly as a preseason game number 2 if you're going to play him. If you don't play him, that's fine. The one thing I do want to say, and this isn't necessarily offense, I don't know that it feels great if we lose this game going into the the postseason with 4 straight losses, and God forbid we lose week 1 in the playoffs. That's 5 straight losses. Last year we lost our last 2 games, and then we lost our first week of the playoffs. That's a trend that's not great. So if Bosmer plays this week, hopefully we can somehow find a way to beat the Vikings, but their defense is disgusting. So we'll see what happens. But and I'm just excited to see what Malik Willis can do against the top defense with not the top talent. So, but Reed, Watson, Jacobs, Tom, Jordan Love really should not play all that much.
Scoliosis asks if Michael Wilson's a free agent after next year. That's a fantastic option.
We're not going to be able to
be a free agent until 2027. But that's a great example.
Yeah. So if he was a free agent, he's about to get, and he's been the best wide receiver in the NFL in like the last 7 weeks.
Yeah, he's been a baller.
I mean, guys like Tutu Atwell, Hollywood Brown, Juwan Jennings, Greg Dortch.
What do you guys think?
Josh Reynolds and Tim Patrick could be some guys. Zay Jones, maybe.
What if the Niners let go of Brandon Ayuk? Would you guys be interested at all?
Depends on how much money he wants.
Well, he can't be expecting much after whatever's gone on in the last couple of years in San Francisco for him.
He's got a lot of guaranteed from them.
The health issue, I can't do it.
Well, he has no guaranteed left because they voided it because of all the meetings and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we take on his contract, but if they let him go and he wants a reset somewhere, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I want somebody healthy that's available. Should one of our top guys be hurt?
I assume he's going to be healthy going into next year, though.
I have a hard time trusting it, I guess, is where I'm at with it.
Juwan Jennings would be a fun pickup too. But
Juwan Jennings is a much better.
He's gonna be too expensive. I think San Francisco holds on to him.
I think they kind of have to with how Debo and Ayuk have gone.
I agree.
All right, Jake, is there anything you're looking for from the Packers offense?
Just lots of reps for Jordan Morgan out at whatever position they want to put him at this week. Same with Belton. I'd go full youth movement. I'd sit everybody, whatever. And if Matthew Golden leaves this game with less than 10 targets, we're going to have some issues.
10's a lot. I'll say 5.
He has 10 in the last 9 weeks. Give me one game where you force feed the guy.
Yeah.
I'll meet you at 6.
No.
He's 14.
Dude, if you're just gonna go full youth movement, just force feed the guy.
Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Maybe you know what? You know what's crazy? Maybe they can use Savion as a wide receiver too, instead of just a guy that just runs around in the backfield.
Now you're speaking. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Okay, Simon, is there anything specific you're looking to see from the offense?
Nope. I really, honestly, I'll watch the game, but I don't really go a crap about it.
This will be a game I'll actually be able to relax.
I don't care what happens. I don't think he's going to play this week, but they brought back a familiar guy, and maybe if anything, he can give you a little bit of intel on Chicago if that's who we end up playing in the first round of the playoffs. But just a familiar guy to bring into an absolutely just decimated defensive line room. But other than that, Brian, is there anything you're looking for from the defense?
Yeah, I'm just excited to see youth. Hopefully Colin Oliver can get on the field. That'll be fun to watch. Hopefully, a lot of Tyron Hopper, maybe even some, Katana Ladapo, some players like that, just to see if anyone can make some plays.
Jake, is anybody anything defensively you're looking for?
Maybe some effort, because that effort on Saturday night was freaking dog crap. Tyler heard me say this already. It's going to be going. It went live already today on the radio, but pretty weird how is the only human being on America saying that the Packers should trade for a defensive tackle when everybody was saying it should have been a corner. Look at our run defense now. Should have traded for a defensive tackle. That's all I gotta say.
One more thing real quick. Maybe put Bo Melton out at cornerback and actually see if he can play better than anyone that we're starting at cornerback, because I'm really sick of Carrington Valentine just not caring to tackle at all, and Keyshawn Nixon getting burned on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Bro, Valentine talks way too heavy for a guy who hits like a freaking MyPillow.
Dude, Keyshawn Nixon is like the first pancake that you make when you start making pancakes. He's burnt on the one side and okay on the other side. That's pretty much how I think of him.
I like that.
How do you make your pancakes, dude?
With heart. I don't know.
With shame. Just puts them on a lukewarm pan and shames them into cooking.
The first pancake gets burnt because I'm having to yell at the kids and the dog's acting like an idiot, and I forget about it.
Bacon's burning on the other side of the stove. Shit. Chaos at Brian's house for breakfast.
Yeah.
Dude, you're rich. Why don't you have somebody cook for you?
This is why I call him Nissan, because he's not I don't know.
Demetrius Melvin said Cooper DeJean could have been drafted by Brian Goodwin.
No, please stop. We have Javon Bullard.
Cooper DeJean.
And Tom Bullard could have been, and Tom Brady could have been drafted by everybody 6 times.
You could go back and look at every draft and see this and sit there and say that crap the whole time.
When Jordan Morgan's our starting left tackle next year, nobody's going to complain.
Look who else we got out of that damn draft.
Yeah.
He hit 3 of the next 4 picks.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
Scoliosis said Alec Pierce is a free agent next year.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but his market value is $19 million.
Yeah,
Hey,
Alec Pierce is going to be expensive. He's good.
Bryant said he'll make pancakes for you if you go over right now.
Yeah. See you in
First
about
one's burnt, though.
Simon, was there anything you wanted to see from the defense?
Nope, I don't care.
Okay. I won't even ask Jake what the weather is going to be like, because I already know the answer to that.
Yeah.
All right. So last thing before we head out for the night, I have some milestones that could happen this week. This completely dependent on just how some of the game goes and who's playing. Like Jordan Love, if he plays, if throws a touchdown and no interceptions, he'd have 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. That would be great. I think that would be better than anything we were expecting this season from him. So I don't know that Jordan Love's going to play. Matt LaFleur has kept his cards kind of close to the vest, and I don't really expect Jordan Love to play this entire game, even if he starts it at all. Similar to Josh Jacobs, I don't think he's going to play a whole lot. But if he gets 71 rushing yards, he would hit 1,000 for the season.
Get that.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked unless he breaks off a huge one to start the game.
I
think if you see Jordan Love in the game, it's going to be a lot of very quick throws. Hit your back foot, throw the ball, just to get a few reps in. That would be my guess, and I'm fine with it.
Throw off of it. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you lean back a little bit and
loft that shit up there. Emmanuel Wilson needs 48 yards for 500 on the season. Christian Watson needs 1 touchdown to tie his career high of 7 with his rookie year in 3 fewer games. So that would be cool. Matthew Golden needs 47 yards to reach 400, so that would be nice. And then Chris Brooks needs 9 yards to reach 100 rushing yards on the season, so I'd be happy for him to get that too. He's a guy who does a lot of dirty work. I'd love to get him over 100 yards for the season. That would be cool. And get him a touchdown would be sweet. Looking at stat projections, it was really sad. It was really, really rough to go through this because there was a lot of them that without injuries, I think we would have had good pace on, especially offensively, which looking at Tucker Kraft's numbers, like, oh my God,
Yeah, he would have destroyed I think he would have destroyed what we had for him, right?
No, we would have done really well, you
We
guys.
had him pretty high. I think I said that he might lead us in targets.
He would have exceeded our yardage by like 200 and
Yeah.
by a handful of touchdowns, but just because he was scoring touchdowns like crazy. But I basically just doubled what his numbers were and looked at it that way. If you doubled what he had done before his ACL injury, he would have finished 64 catches on 80 targets for 978 yards and 12 touchdowns.
God.
We had him 63 receptions on 82 targets for 777 and 8.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So that was it is basically a preseason game. It was really, really sad to see that and be like, wow, we actually would have been pretty close on Tucker Kraft. And obviously, like there's a little bit of touchdown regression that could have happened in the second half of the season. And, we would have been really, really close.
More progression.
Melvin said Parsons and Wyatt being out is allowing the secondary to be exposed. That is absolutely 100%
Part of it,
Josh Jacobs, his receiving numbers, he's 36 on 43, 36 receptions, 43 targets for 282 yards and a touchdown. We had 38 catches on 47 targets for 348 and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
So if he wasn't banged up, we would have been pretty good on his numbers as well. And then Romeo Doubs, he's got 55 catches on 83 targets for 724 yards and 6 touchdowns. We had him for 59 catches on 84 targets for 696 yards and 5 touchdowns. So we did really good on Romeo Doubs. Defensively, we did great on the DBs. Bullard has 57 tackles. We had him for 59. He gets a couple this week. We're good. He also had we'll get to McKinney in a second. We had him 41 for 58 in coverage. He's 47 for 62, so we're close there. Evan Williams, he's got 62 tackles. We had him down for 65. He has 3 interceptions. We nailed that. We did have a much more completion percentage for Evan Williams, but he's been playing a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, so that's going to raise that up a little bit. Xavier McKinney, 73 tackles. We had him down for 68, but he had 10 tackles versus Baltimore. So going into week 17, he had 63 tackles. We projected him for 68. This is interesting, and this is something I just wanted to bring up, not because we were close on stats, but just to really show how effective he was in 2024. Xavier McKinney, we had him to face 43 targets. He's been targeted 27 times.
Damn.
Teams are not throwing at Xavier McKinney like at all. Yeah, Carrington Valentine's given up 30 receptions on 54 targets. We had him on 34 for 56. He's allowed 5 touchdowns, though, and we had him down for 2. So targets were good, but touchdowns has been rough. Keyshawn Nixon has given up 48 receptions on 80 targets. That's 60%. We had him on 53 for 83. That's 63.9%. So we were really close on Keyshawn Nixon. He's given up 7 touchdowns, has an interception, and 13 passes defensed. We had him down for 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 11 passes defensed. So, I mean, he's given up a couple extra touchdowns that we would hope not to allow, but I don't think he's super far off from where we had him. Mm-hmm. Isaiah McDuffie has 54 tackles. We had him down for 56. He has 25 run stops. We had him down for 27. So those 2 numbers could come true. I will say Quay Walker has 90 tackles. We had him down for 98. We had Quay Walker down for 3 sacks. Nailed that. He's got 3. Rashawn Gary has 54 pressures. We had him down for 56. Other than that, we had him for 20 tackles, plus 20 tackles from where he's at, plus 2.5 sacks from where he's at, and plus 8 run stops from where he's at. So I think that just really kind of goes to show that we've had kind of a disappointing season from Rashawn Gary.
Very.
Yeah. So last thing, I didn't tell the guys that I had this, but I kind of spoiler alerted it a little bit. I compared Matthew Golden's numbers to Javon Walker's. Because there's a big deal about, it's the first wide receiver we've drafted since Javon Walker. It's the first wide receiver in 20-some years. So I looked at the numbers and compared them. And Matthew Golden has played 13 games this year. Javon Walker played 15 games in his rookie season. Matthew Golden has 28 receptions on 41 targets for 353 yards and, unfortunately, no touchdowns. Javon Walker had 23 receptions on 50 targets for 319 yards and 1 touchdown.
Wow. Did he turn out to be okay?
He turned out to be okay. Just listen to his targets the following years after that. Year 2, he had 74 targets. Year 3, he had 144 targets. Year 4, he was hurt. And year 5, he had 126 targets with Denver.
He's
And
the
I'm
sole
not
reason
saying
that I
that-
lost the Simon in fantasy football because he's the reason I started playing fantasy football. I'm serious, dude. He was my fucking password my first year playing fantasy football.
Oh yeah.
Javon Walker, dude.
So if Matthew Golden goes from 45 to 74 to 144, which I don't expect that big of a jump, but if he goes from 45 targets this year to 75 targets next year to 100 targets in year 3, I don't think anybody's going to look back and be like, wow, they did him so dirty in year 1.
It's funny because even if you look at like the Packers' previous like high, receivers they've taken pretty high, almost none of them start out like with huge numbers.
Yep.
Like think Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, like none of those guys started with getting like huge target volumes or anything like that, or having big numbers. So I'm not worried about Matthew Golden at all.
I think with the potential of Romeo Dobbs
Random
walking,
Doritos.
I think Dontavian Wicks is going to be out of the picture next year. I think the big 3 that we're going to roll with as far as wide receivers is going to be Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Matthew Golden next season.
Yeah, Devontae Adams had, in his first season, he had 38 receptions, but he got 66 targets for only 446 yards. So it's not like Golden is way crazy behind that. And actually, Devontae didn't have a good second year, and people are crazy and saying, cut him, and then he exploded. Like, people just need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a random go Eagles.
Yeah, Devontae Adams, with what the year he's had with, I think he might have found himself into the Hall of Fame. I think he has a chance.
Yeah.
I think he plays again next year.
Yeah, because he looked good this year. He had a good year.
Dude, he's got like 12 touchdowns this year, and he's played like 12 games.
14.
Jeez.
14 touchdowns. I think he leads the league in touchdowns.
Jordy Nelson's rookie year, he had 33 catches on 54 targets.
What about Cobb?
Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb's rookie year, he had 25 catches on 31 targets.
Yeah.
I
think he was.
That's the one.
Just catching everything.
Yeah, the legendary Ty Montgomery.
What about Jamon Moore?
I'm not looking that one up.
Jamon Moore.
He got cut in the preseason. He didn't even make the team.
So, pump the
Trevor
brakes a little
Davis.
bit on the Matthew Golden. Needs to have all of this stuff because he was drafted as a first rounder. It doesn't promise anything, and we've said this with a bunch of things. Like, it was a room that needs to be replenished because there's going to be guys vacating the wide receiver room in the near future. So, we think Matthew Golden's going to be in spot for a big year next year. But alrighty, like I said, this week is pretty inconsequential for the Packers. So next week we're going to have a pretty minimal recap, but we will do a pretty extensive preview for Packers and probably Bears game 3 this season. So we'll see if maybe.
Do you guys care do you guys have a preference whether it's the Bears or the Eagles?
I don't care.
I
I'd like to beat the Bears because that would be fun. Because I would love to see a situation where the Packers get to beat Chicago, and then we get a second Wisconsin beating Chicago team in the playoffs. Back-to-back sports with the Brewers knocking out the Cubs in baseball earlier, and then I would love to see the Bucks get a chance to knock the Bulls out of the playoffs in the NBA as well, and just really give Chicago a 3 middle finger little brother salute. That would be good for the Jellies. That would feel good.
Yeah.
I think that if they play the Eagles, I think the Eagles are starting to find themselves a little bit. I think they'll run all over us with Saquon. I think they actually have a chance against the Bears.
Yeah.
I actually believe that.
Oh, well, I mean, it took an epic meltdown for us to lose in Chicago a couple weeks ago. So, I 100% agree. And that's with the team we essentially have now. We didn't have Micah in that game. We have everyone. Yeah, and no Zach Tom in that game while having this.
And lost Jordan Love pretty early. So, and Josh Jacobs. So we'll be back next week with an abbreviated recap and a pretty extensive preview. So we'll find out who the opponent is, and we'll be back. Scolios said watching the Vikings beat the Lions on Christmas, although it hurt our draft order and maybe a schedule next year. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Fuck the Lions, got swept.
Hell yeah.
Lions came back down to earth real fast. Their Super Bowl window closed real quick. So that's definitely something we can agree on. So, alrighty, go Pack, go, and we'll see you guys next week.
Go Pack.